Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. Today is another sit down video. Big shout out to the notification family. Big shout out for being the first in the notification family. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate you. So today I'm going to be discussing with you guys the top 5 tips that I would give you guys from my relationship, or I guess top 5 relationship tips. Let's call it that. From the last week's video, I was talking about you don't need a boyfriend. So in this week's video, I'm going to be talking about for those of us who do have a boyfriend, or if you are looking into having a relationship later on in life and you just want to get some information and see how others do it and stuff like that. All the information that I'll be giving you guys is based on my relationship and what we did, what's worked for us, and what I would recommend from other people. So let's jump straight into the video. So the first relationship tip that I would give you guys is number 1, prayer. Prayer and petition avails much. Prayer avails much. As a Christian, as a young Christian girl, and I used to hear this, I'd be like, oh. Because I wasn't, I never really was the top prayer. Prayer, everyone has their weaknesses and their strength. Prayer was one of my weaknesses. I'll be completely honest and completely transparent of my Christian life. The thing that I really struggled with the most was prayer. As I've grown, I've become to notice that I love prayer. I love worship. I love praying and having that intimate time with the Lord. And I found that the more that I pray and the more that me and my partner pray together, the more the Lord just answers our prayers and reveals things to us. So prayer, not just in your relationship together, but also you as a person about that relationship. Especially 1, if you're still trying to figure out whether that person is the right person. 2, if you're in the relationship and you're like, this guy. 3, if you want to know whether this is going anywhere. Pray about it. The Lord answers. When me and Farah were first together and we were just getting to know one another, me and him were just friends. We were really, really good friends. And we started developing feelings for one another. And I was like, oh, no, I can't be feeling this way about him. And I actually prayed. I remember praying to the Lord, and I said to the Lord, like, if this is not the one, if he is not meant to be there, if you don't want me to do this and be in a relationship with this guy, remove him. Take him away, please, because I want nothing to do with him. And God didn't take him away. And that was because I had some crazy baggage and I just wasn't ready. I wasn't in the mood. I just wasn't interested in being in any relationship. And the fact that I was developing feelings for someone else and I just wasn't even ready for it, I didn't want it, was like, is this me, doing the damn thing again? But obviously, I prayed about it and the guy didn't go away. So here we are today. So I would, number 1, say prayer. Pray. It's important to pray and have a relationship with Christ. I mean, God speaks. He reveals things to you if you ask. You may not exactly see it then and there, but later on you'll be like, wait, I prayed that prayer, look now. There was a time when I was like, hold on, I prayed that prayer that if this guy isn't the right one, take him away. But he's still here now. And we're 3 years in. So, when you figure that out and when the Holy Spirit reveals to you the answer prayer, all you can do is thank God, honestly, because it's like he's answered your prayer. So the second advice that I would give you guys is have your list. That list. You don't necessarily have to have a list of I want him to have 2 ears. I want him to have, 4C hair. But you can have a list of expectations that you have or things that you want in a guy. So for me, I never actually sat down and wrote a list, but I mentally had a list that I wanted. And as I began to, pray more and just be more around Farai, I realized that he's fitting the stuff that I wanted in my list. And even Farai realized as well that she's fitting the stuff that I wanted in my list. I'll share one of the things that I had on my list, and I'll share one of the things that Farai had on his list. I hope that's okay. So one of the things that I had on my list was I wanted someone dark. I know it's a weird request, but I like melanin, let's just say that. I like melanin, I like a dark skin tone. I think black is beautiful, I think dark is beautiful. I love my dark skin tone, I love everyone's skin tone, but my personal preference was that I just wanted someone who was dark because I wanted to have, you know, little chocolate gumdrop babies, little dark chocolate gumdrop babies. So that was one of the things that I had in my mental list, and got myself a little dark chocolate handsome man. So God answered the prayer for me. And one of the things that I had on his list was the fact that he wanted someone who was strong in the areas that he was weak. And if you know us very well, you would know that I'm very strong in some of the areas where Farai is very weak, and he is very strong in the areas where I'm very weak. So we actually complement each other, we balance each other out, and that's one of his requirements, or one of the things that he had on his list, which is true. So with that being said, I think that the list does work. God will always give you the right person for you. That's according to your list. It may not be exactly the person that you think is best for you, if that makes sense. But God still answers your list. And at the end of the day, that's what you know you want. And it says in the Bible that God knows the desires of your heart even before you were formed. So he knows that you wanted a dark chocolate man. So he's going to give you a dark chocolate man. But it's also good for you to have that list so that when someone comes and they don't have all the qualities that you, especially the important ones such as reads their Bible, prays, has a relationship with Christ, does work in the church, things like that, which were some of the things that I had on my list, which were very important to me. If someone came and they didn't do all those things and they're so important to me, then you know from the get-go that this is not the right person, because already you have formed that list to say, hey, this is the type of person that I want. If someone comes and they're not looking like anything on the list, and you pray about it and things aren't working and you still go ahead and, you know, jump into that relationship, then, you know, you did it to yourself. But yeah, have a list so that you know exactly what you want and you don't settle for less than what you want. Number 3, don't drop your life, don't settle for less. It's kind of coupled with the second one. Don't drop your life for someone. That's subjective, okay? So let's say you found someone and, you know, you're in a relationship together and, you know, you're doing certain things and whatever, and you just start dropping everything to be at a whim to this person. You start dropping everything. There's a red flag there. You shouldn't drop your life. You shouldn't stop doing what you're doing for the sake of one person. Obviously, yeah, once you get together and you are serious about one another, you begin to communicate about these things, but there's compromise. There's compromise. If there's no compromise there and it's just you dropping everything, especially when it comes to schooling, if you're still very, very young and you have education, you have high school, you have university, and you're failing your stuff, you're not studying, you're doing things like that, that's a red flag. That's a red flag there. You need to question this person and go back to number 1 and pray about this guy and see what the heck is happening there, because that shouldn't be happening. Your life shouldn't be falling apart for the sake of someone else's, just because you're with someone else. If your life begins falling apart when you're with someone, there's something happening there. There needs to be something that's reevaluated there. Number 4, boundaries. Yes, boundaries. It's important once you get in a relationship, even before you're in a relationship, to have boundaries, to set your boundaries straight, similar to your list, so that you know exactly what you want, so that if someone comes and they're not fitting the list, then you know that, nah, that's not it. The same way that if someone comes and they are trying to push your boundaries and they're not respecting your boundaries, then you know that you need to pray about this person, because something is not adding up. There needs to be boundaries in a relationship, and you need to set boundaries for yourself. Especially in a Christian relationship, there needs to be clear boundaries set. When there's no boundaries set, you know, people just do wishy-washy things, and that's how you end up in situations where you're like, oh, I messed up. I messed up. Boundaries are really, really important. Farah and I set boundaries very, very early in our relationship. About, I'll say 6 or 8 months into our relationship, we had sat down and we were like, listen, these are the boundaries that we're setting. Sis, it's important for you to have boundaries. You need to figure out already, before you even get in a relationship, what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. If you don't have boundaries for yourself, someone else will set those boundaries for you, and you end up in a situation where you're sitting back, you're like, wait, how did I end up there? How did that happen? Because you hadn't sat down and said to yourself, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this until I'm married. I'm not going here. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And then lastly, number 5, accountability. You need to have someone accountable for your relationship, especially if it's very, very serious. You need to have someone accountable for your relationship. By accountable, I mean there needs to be someone that knows. Don't do it Nicodemus. Don't do it under the shadows. Don't do it under the dark. That's where, you know, things start getting a little bit messy. That's where wahala starts happening. That's where boundaries start being pushed. You need to have accountability. Whether that be going to Masofa, going to counseling, going to whoever, going to your parents, whatever it be, you need to have accountability. Do things in the light, do things with accountability, so that you are not hurt, so that nothing happens to you, so that you are protected, so that even after all those things, all those 5 steps, even if that person ends up being the wrong person, there's that last step of accountability that will come through and save you and rescue you from stupid mistakes that you have to go over, that you end up having to get counseling for, that you end up carrying baggage on baggage because of that. So those are the 5 relationship tips or dating tips that I would give you guys from my own experience. So if you guys would like me to dive a little deeper in some of these topics, some of the top 5 tips, I'm more than happy to make a dedicated video to prayer, accountability, boundaries, your list, and stuff like that. Just let me know in the comment section below which one you would like to see most. I hope you guys have liked this video. Make sure you comment down below your thoughts or what your favorite tip is. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. I love you guys so much. Mwah.